Hey, it's me, Large Lenny, again for like the third time, I think, something like that. Anyway, there's this guy. His name's Gabriel. He's pretty cool. I asked him if I could take a clip from his video and then put it up on my channel, a little section of the newest video that he's made. He said yes, because he's cool. And so here it is, right? It's going to play after I finish off this little introduction. Anyway, yeah, the video that he's made is very good. You should check it out. Watch the entire thing. I recommend that. Then like the video, then subscribe to his channel, right? Do all of that. It's a very smart idea. Anyway, here's the clip. Play it.
Now, you might think that the last three people were bad. After all, Mar harasses fans, Avery just threatens people, and Calm Gaming scams everyone. Well, if you think that's bad, you've seen nothing yet. Because the person we're talking about now is quite possibly one of the biggest scumbags in the whole goddamn community. It's time to talk about Rightburst. Now, for those who somehow do not know, Rightburst is the original creator of the Versus Sonic.exe mod. He also very much used to be a director of the mod, but he was thrown out simply because he was very, very authoritarian in that position. Like, he rushed the 1.5 version of the mod, he forced his own way in 2.0, and then that led to him getting democratically kicked out. And even then, once he was brought back in, he put like 4 or 5 different OCs in. There's even the rumor that he apparently was thrown out yet again, but that one I cannot confirm. Calm has admitted in the DMs that he's generally very vindictive. He just has something especially against Revy just because she took his director role. And that just led to him being the one who collected all the quote-unquote evidence from False Cow's original thread. His vendetta against Revy is in fact still ongoing. He still retweets like fake Revys in order to keep her slandered image afloat. He generally retweets anyone who's anti-Revy, just still being vindictive about it. And speaking of his Twitter, he sends his fanbase after others. That's really disgusting. You know what's the funniest part about him? Despite how much he very clearly hates Revy, he also seems to respect her. You know, considering how much he fucking steals concepts from her. Like, Wikidna is a faker clone, his brand new Metal Sonic EXE is just a ripoff of some old sprites for Metal Sonic that Revy made, and his new original take on Lost Silver is also just a concept straight up stolen from Revy. Like, look at the reference sheets, even those are fucking similar. When it comes to the Revy situation, he also just keeps acting like a victim repeatedly, and also just casually takes the moral high ground, even though he's the one that ruined everything for her. Straight up, like one time when someone said that they wished death on Revy, he said, "Oh, don't do that, she needs help," like she didn't go to therapy for 2 months. Fuck. I also quickly want to talk about some very interesting tweets that Rightburst made. He made a Twitter thread where he talked about his life and his general situation, but the first half is not that relevant to what I'm trying to say here. The second half is. Just check what he says here. Something like, "Nobody looks at the full story," or "Nobody approaches me to hear from both sides." The weirdest thing he says is that apparently he sticks up for people, which, yeah, Calm might disagree with that. Then, on another thread, he now says that his friends have actively left and blocked him, and of course he uses that to keep portraying himself as a victim here. Overall, I just think the fact that he is now in a similar situation to Revy, even if nowhere near as extreme, is just kinda ironic, you feel me? And yet again, despite how much he hates Revy, he snuck her into his own mod called FNF Parallax. Later, he was called out on it, and just dropped one of the worst apologies I've ever seen, I swear to God. He's still vindictive and spiteful in it, this time against Avery for leaving Parallax apparently. That's what the text at the bottom of every single screenshot of their DM says. And in that part where he talks of Revy, he just throws some more bullshit out and he talks about having memory issues. And we'll fucking talk about his memory issues. Oh Jesus Christ, that's a doozy. But here's the worst part about it. He and Avery, for some reason, act like Revy was actively manipulating them through this convo they had. But like, the moment you read through the convo, you just realize that it's a completely normal conversation. Like, sure, it wasn't about like the best subject, but yeah, no, there's no manipulation going on here, especially not from Revy's side. But one final really big point before this. After the Sonic.exe mod was cancelled, Rightburst jumped right over to versus Sonic.exe Rerun, a fan mod that was in development long before Sonic.exe was cancelled, but currently acts as basically the main mod, considering the actual main mod no longer exists. Well, when said mod then made a Q&A in a live Twitter space, he was obviously there. And as someone asked what exactly his response to Large Lenny's original video was, well, it was the following.
Real quick, I'm gonna risk saying this because of what happened while V2 was happening. What do you guys think about the recently came up video of Revy being innocent?
Bull, absolute
bullshit.
Yeah. Bullshit.
Actual
Yeah,
bullshit.
I have no comment.
I got no comment. I got no comment.
That's right, it was 5 seconds of the words bullshit and no comment. That's not a valid response to 30 minutes of evidence. Also, the whole response seems very fishy if you ask me. Did you notice how the other devs just straight up took a second to wait for his reaction and then just also said, yeah, it's bullshit, it's bullshit, it's bullshit. Why were they specifically waiting for his opinion? Why didn't they speak up on their own? Is he manipulating the team? That's a genuine question. I do not know, and I cannot know because, well, nobody said anything about that. It's just that, well, it doesn't seem out of character for Rightburst. And generally, the whole rerun team just seems to run a lot worse with him. You know, it used to have like weekly teasers, but around the time he joined the team, those just suddenly stopped. That seems just a little suspicious if you ask me. But on the topic of Rightburst being suspicious, let's talk about his so-called memory issues. Well, he calls the memory issues, I call them bullshit. Let me explain. Weirdly enough, those memory issues are only a real problem when he fucks up in some way and has to save himself. This guy has a serious victim complex, and this is just another facet of it, if you ask me at least. He shows no other side effects that would lead one to believe that he has brain damage or Alzheimer's or dementia. Like, he's still very good at communicating, he can still draw well, so like the motor functions still work, he can generally still create, he can direct multiple mods at once. It just does not seem feasible for someone who is currently suffering from dementia to also do that at the same time. Also, fun fact, early onset dementia and or Alzheimer's typically don't set in before the 30s. They're really rare in your 20s and basically impossible to have in your teens. So it's nothing natural and it's most likely no brain damage from the outside, so what would even be the cause of those memory issues? Actually, I recently found a tweet of him saying that he has very severe memory issues, potentially even dementia. Now, not only did he actually say dementia, but also severe memory issues in your teens. It already seemed like a lie when he just said general memory issues, but severe ones? So yeah, once again, I'm calling bullshit. This does not seem right. So yeah, I do not believe this guy actually has those memory issues. I think he's lying to save himself. Unless he shows an actual diagnosis by an actual doctor, he's most likely lying about having dementia. Fuck him and fuck this. What the hell? You do not lie about shit like this. I shouldn't have to say this.